You know, if you ask anyone to picture our solar system, odds are they're going to picture Saturn, right? With those incredible icy rings. They're just this timeless symbol of cosmic beauty. But here's the thing. They're also at the center of a huge cosmic mystery, and that's exactly what we're going to unravel right now.
So what if that timeless feature isn't timeless at all? What if it's actually one of the newest things in our cosmic backyard? Imagine that, a temporary show born from some pretty intense violence, and we just happen to be alive at the exact right moment to see it. That is the mystery we're diving into. You gotta put yourself in the shoes of the first astronomers. They look up and they see this thing. It's huge, it's beautiful, but it raises these massive questions. Where did it come from? What in the world is it made of? For hundreds of years, those answers were just gone, totally out of reach. Okay, so our investigation really kicks off almost 400 years back. We're talking about the very first detectives on the case, pointing these brand new things called telescopes at Saturn. I mean, their tools were, let's be honest, pretty basic. Their view was super blurry, but they were the ones who knew, right away, that something weird was going on with that planet.
And get this, it took 45 years just to figure out the first clue. In 1610, you have Galileo looking through his telescope, and he's just completely baffled. He can't make it out, so he draws what look like these weird ears on either side of the planet. It took almost half a century. Not until 1655 did Christian Huygens come along with a way better telescope and finally crack that first piece of the puzzle. They weren't ears, it was a ring.
So to really get to the bottom of this, we couldn't just keep looking from Earth. We had to send investigators right to the scene. And that's where our robotic detectives come in, the Voyager and Cassini spacecraft. Think of them as our high-tech forensics team, sent on this decades-long mission to gather all the evidence they could.
And wow, the evidence they sent back was just staggering. Voyager and Cassini completely changed the game. They showed us the rings aren't one solid thing at all, but thousands of tiny individual ringlets. They even found these little shepherd moons that act like cosmic border collies, herding the ring particles and carving out gaps. But the most important clue, the real bombshell, the composition. These things are 99% pure water ice, unbelievably clean. Now you gotta remember that detail. It is absolutely critical.
And Cassini wasn't just a quick flyby either. No way. This probe spent 13 years on the case. It was orbiting, analyzing, and even took these incredible dives through the rings. I mean, that's dedication. And all that hard work gave us this mountain of evidence we needed to finally build a real profile of this mystery.
So with all this new evidence pouring in, the scientific community basically narrowed it all down. They had two prime suspects, two totally different theories for how the rings got there. And this, right here, set the stage for one of the biggest debates in modern planetary science.
All right, so let's look at the lineup. Suspect number one is the shattered moon theory. This is the dramatic, violent story. The idea that an icy moon, some scientists even call it chrysalis, got a little too close to Saturn maybe 100 million years ago and was just torn to shreds. Then you have suspect number two, the primordial remnants theory. This one's much quieter, much more ancient. It says the rings are basically just leftovers from when Saturn was born, billions of years ago.
Okay, so we have our two theories. For years, scientists went back and forth, but then the evidence from Cassini really started to pile up, and it was all pointing in one very clear direction. It was time for a verdict, and the story it told? It was a story of a very recent and very catastrophic event.
So, what was the murder weapon in our little cosmic crime scene? Well, it was Saturn itself, specifically its incredible gravity. There's a name for this effect, tidal forces. Basically, if a moon gets too close, the pull of gravity on the side facing the planet is way stronger than the pull on the far side. And that difference in force literally stretches the moon and then rips it apart into millions of pieces.
And this brings us to the deciding clue. Remember what I told you to remember? That critical piece of evidence from Cassini? The fact that the rings are 99% pure water ice. That was the smoking gun. Think about it. The solar system is a really dusty, dirty place. If those rings had been around for billions of years, they would have been bombarded by tiny meteors and cosmic dust for ages. They'd be dark, they'd be rocky. But they're not. They are bright white, pure ice, absolutely pristine. And that one fact, how clean they are, let scientists do the math and figure out their age. The verdict came in. Saturn's main rings are only about 100 million years old. In cosmic terms, that's nothing. That's yesterday. It means the rings probably appeared when dinosaurs were still walking around on Earth.
We are looking at one of the newest, shiniest things in our entire solar system. So, there you have it. The case is pretty much closed. Saturn's rings aren't some ancient relics. They're the glittering remains of a shattered moon. They aren't timeless and unchanging. They're this incredibly dynamic, evolving system. And that beautiful halo we see, it's not a permanent part of the sky. It's a fleeting moment in cosmic time. And we are just unbelievably lucky to be here to see it.
And you know, that leaves us with one last kind of mind-blowing thought. The universe is always changing. It's not static. Saturn's rings are this perfect reminder that the night sky isn't some fixed museum exhibit. It's a live performance happening right now.